I'm Allie.
I'm Nathan.
And we are here with Potomac Beads to introduce to you the newest thread on the market in beading by bead tech, DragonThread. So if you've been interested in looking for a different type of thread, a different type of material that can be really versatile in beading, look no further because DragonThread is here.
So we've been working with bead tech to develop a new beading thread that is stronger and thinner than a lot of the other threads already out there on the market. And there are 3 colors to begin with. One great thing about these spools, first of all, is that they are in meters instead of yards, so that gives you about 10% more thread versus a 50 or a 250 meter versus yard spool.
So meters are longer than yards. For those of you that don't know, a meter is going to be longer than a yard. So naturally, if you see 50 meters versus 50 yards, again, you're getting that extra 10% of thread in the distance when you're looking at it.
Also, some of the other threads have their longest spools are 125 yards. So we think 250 meters is a great length that people can stock up and use over and over again. And it's also, all of these threads are cheaper than some of the other threads on the market.
Yeah, so I go through thread like crazy because when I'm making bracelets and I have designs, I sometimes will use 15 to 20 feet of thread making a single design. I'm doing my wingspan, 3 times, 4 times. So you use a lot of thread and you have a lot of opportunity to get a lot more projects done with a single roll. Not only does this allow you to purchase and stock up at one time, but you'll notice these spools are actually smaller than most of the spools on the market. So we've worked hard to reduce a lot of waste and make them more convenient, more eco-friendly, because the same meter spool here or the same yard spool in other competitors are going to be even bigger than our biggest spool. So we have a lot less plastic waste, and it's going to make it a lot more convenient to travel with too and take it with you.
Yeah, we think we've reduced the plastic by at least 60 or 70%.
Yeah, so major reduction there when it comes to the smaller spools. Even the 250 meter spool, is going to be smaller than the traditional spools that are on the market.
Another great thing is that we have tens of thousands of these spools of DragonThread. It's been very difficult for us to have the other threads in stock. Especially through COVID, some of those companies did a very poor job of maintaining stock. And so for us, sometimes going months without being able to order Fireline or Wildfire has been a bit of a challenge.
Yeah, so we have plenty in stock to help all of you beaders that have been waiting for thread, want to stock up on thread. And when you're looking at the thread, it's going to come in 2 different sizes currently. So we have the 0.005, which is going to be 0.13 millimeter. And then we also have in the 3 colors of the white, the green, and the black, the 0.006. So right away you can see that it takes a little bit more room on the spool. That's because it's the same amount of length, but it's going to be a little bit thicker when you're looking at the 0.15 millimeter. We're starting out with these 3 colors because they're the ones that we use primarily in most of our bead weaving and most of our bead embroidery and most of the designs. One of the things that was really hard when you're going from beading and bead weaving from one stitch to another is finding a thread that will give you the opportunity to use the thread across multiple different parts of the design. So for instance, the earrings that I'm wearing right now here, the Oasis earrings, these often with my brick stitch, if I'm doing brick stitch, I want one type of thread. And then to get the fringe to be flowing, I want another type of thread. And if I'm using heavier beads and materials like these Potomac crystals, sometimes that thinner thread, if I'm using a competitor brand, is too thin that I don't feel comfortable with it. So we've really concentrated on helping to develop this thread with the idea that you can easily switch from brick stitch to fringe. You get that same drape. You can go through your bead holes more times because the profile or the actual thickness of the thread is stronger for a thinner size. So it's going to be less thick, but still hold up at the same pound test and a better value.
And so just for a quick reference, this is probably, we don't put a pound test on this type of thread because it's not designed for fishing, it's designed for beading, but it would probably be equivalent to a 4-pound and 6-pound test. actually probably a little bit thinner than 4 and 6 pound and a little bit stronger.
Yeah. So when you're looking at the thread, it's going to be thermally bonded like others. So when you're looking at it, it's a ultra high molecular weight. So for those of you wondering about that, it's braided and bonded. And because of that coating, because of that, the method of the actual thread being created, it is going to be burnable. So you can see it kind of balls up just like some of the other threads here. And it's going to burn. What that means is it being allowed to be fused is going to, or burn, is going to allow you to fuse those ends together if you join the thread in that manner. You can also see that it creates a little bit of a stop. That's what I do when I end my thread or when I'm using it. So it's a really great alternative to some of the other threads that aren't going to be that thermally bonded thread, but still have the strength and the thin nature and the thin size to be used in bead embroidery, in a lot of bead weaving designs, as well as in mixed media, loom, yeah, wrap bracelets, all kinds of stuff. And then also I wanted to show you, because it is thinner, while still maintaining that strength, it's going to be easier to thread your needle. So I know there's some people cheering right now about that. You can go and we'll see, I'm putting myself to the test here. You can see that you can, just like the other brands, go through and pinch the thread down a little bit. That's always a great idea when you're threading your needle. But here's a size 12 needle, easily going through with that alternative thread. So size 12 needle, no problem going through with that 0.005 green. If you do a lot of my designs, I use a lot of the wildfire thread. You're going to look for the 0.006 to be equivalent to that 0.006. Still is going to be a little bit thinner. When you get down to those 0.00 of something, there can be a slight difference in those thicknesses. So we are super pumped with Bead Tech to come out with these new threads for designers to use and get some samples out there, get it into people's hands, get feedback, see what colors, if you want to comment below what colors you would like to see next. That's always very appreciated because that helps in product development. And we're really interested to see the feedback, like I said, in those comments, what you love about the thread, how you're using it, the different sizes that you would like to see, and really your opinions of working with this nice thread that tends not to knot, tends not to break, and it has that nice coating on it that's going to allow it to get ease through your bead weaving projects as well as your bead embroidery.
Yeah, this took about 2 years to develop, so it's nice to finally have another, and we think actually better product on the market.
Yeah, so we are super excited, like I said, for everybody to use this product, to get the feedback on it, to enjoy the DragonThread. You'll feel like a fierce beater when you're using it, and you do, like dragons, need to burn this thread. So if you're trying to cut it, you have some really sharp scissors that might work, but I would recommend using your thread burner or your burning tool in order to get this thread off the spool. I also want to mention that the bigger spools have a rubber coating, which is like a thick rubber band on it. So when you are opening it, do not take that rubber band off. That's going to keep your thread positioned where it is. When you're opening the thread along the back, there's just a little seal in here, just like you would be looking for, again, to reduce that waste, like a bobbin or sewing thread. And again, that small rubber is going to reduce that plastic waste. Like
and you can tuck the thread into the little crevice that's built into the plastic.
Yeah. So lots of different options, lots of things that we hope will be viewed by you as improvements, and we're really excited that finally this can come to the market.
As soon as you get to play with it, let us know what you think.
Thanks so much for joining us in the introduction of this DragonThread. We are super pumped for you guys to get it into the hands of other beaders and bead designers and crafters alike. Don't forget to give us your feedback in those comments below, and stay tuned for some more great tutorials from us here at Potomac Beads using DragonThread.